What's up, YouTube? I wanted to do this video on Dion Sanders. Now, what I did was I got really into it. I think until after they lost the second game, but I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch this week. I didn't watch last week, so I don't even know if they won. But this really isn't about the football team. I'm gonna talk about the football a little bit, but really, I'm just gonna be just focusing on Dion. You know, and what he means to me and to a lot of other people. See, Deion Sanders is a bad man. Okay? And it's not because he's a dang on basketball player. I mean, a football player. He's not because he's a football player. You see what I mean? You got a lot of people out here that think that because they were good at a sport, that they're also a bad man. And they confuse it. And what happens is their fans allow them to continue confusing it. Can I get a witness? Can I get one witness out there? Because, see, we got a lot of people out here, right? They think that, and I'm not trying it for the people that are over here from the Kwame world. I am not trying to, what do they call it? I forget the name that the kids call it these days. But I'm not trying to talk about somebody without talking about somebody. I think they call it dry hating. I'm not sure what they call it. Anyway, what I'm saying is that, like, see, Deion Sanders, yeah, he was an exceptional athlete and stuff like that. But to do what he did as an exceptional athlete says a lot about him. There's somebody else that did what he did too, Bo Jackson. There's another guy out here. I think his name was Michael Jordan that did what Deion Sanders did, and like when you can go and play different sports like that, it says something about you. Now, the one thing that I haven't said, and this is just a side street that I'm going down. The one thing that that I have not noticed is anybody really branching away from sports and doing something completely different like that. Being really good at something and branching away. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I was I was a star quarterback. When I played baseball, I was always the best, second best, at least the first or second best, depending on who was judging. If my dad was calling it, I was the best. If the coach's son, was in play, then the coach would say his son was the best. But I was always like, at least one or two on my baseball team. I always pitched. And then the tennis thing. I just blew that shit out the water. I mean, I got my first scholarship in tennis when I was 13 years old. Okay, to Morehouse. And that was like nothing. There was no way I was gonna go to Morehouse. You see what I mean? Like I had scholarship offers all over the country. So when I decided to go to Hampton, I wanted to go to Hampton because it was a black school. But I could have gone anywhere. But Hampton just happened to have the only good black tennis team in the nation, and they still the only ones to have it because they're the only ones that recruit internationally. So by the time I was a junior in college, I was the only American on my tennis team at a black school, and Hampton University rocks like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I got the best of both worlds. I got a chance to play high-level tennis and party like a motherfucker. You see what I mean? And when you do things like that, you end up becoming Deion Sanders-like, or you end up becoming Ramo-like. And that's what this video is ultimately about. What does the world think, or what does the world do to the Deion Sanders or the Ramo Retracs or the Michael Jordans of the world, Michael Jacksons of the world. What do they do? What does the world try and do to the princes of the world? Hmm? What do they always do? It's the same old cycle. And this is kind of like the first time that I've like actually witnessed the down part of it. I've always had the up part of it where I'm always a star, you know, I'm always the most popular guy doing whatever I do. It doesn't matter whatever. If it's YouTube, I'm gonna be the most popular person on YouTube. It doesn't matter. You see what I mean? If I really wanted to be the most popular person, in some kind of sector, I could be. You know what I'm saying? And I have been. Like the Gilbert Arenas thing. Who was more popular than me in Gilbert Arenas? I was more popular than Uncle Shug. To tell you the truth. But the thing is, what they do to people like us, and I'm making this video for a reason. This isn't a video for me to complain about it. It's just that I had never really seen it. I had never really seen it firsthand. The downside of that, of being the star or being the guy that gets all the girls, or the person who's striving the most in the family, or the person that seems to be having more of an exciting life, or the person that's reaching for higher goals than maybe other people may reach for. Well, what happens is they wait for your downfall. And I know you guys have heard that before, but take it to heart. Take it to heart, because it's across the board. You don't have to be big like Deion Sanders to witness something like that. Your friends will start doing it to you, your family and shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like supportive of you, but waiting for you to fuck up. They waiting for that tragedy. They want that tragedy. They smiling in your face all the time. You know what I'm saying? They wish they could take your place. So I wanted to say this about Deion Sanders. There's some people that happens to, and it works. It worked on Michael Jackson. They tore Michael Jackson apart. You see what I'm saying? They tore that dude to shreds, man. And it was his family, the people that he thought was his friends. That's probably why he was always hanging around kids and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he just wasn't strong enough to be alone. Got to go hang around no goddamn kids. You got to realize that you one of them Dion Sanders, Ramo Retrac motherfuckers. And if you still listening to this video, you probably are one of them Deion Sanders, Ramo Retrac motherfuckers. So you either going up, you either hit that plateau where nobody thought you could get to, or you on the way down and you starting to notice what I'm talking about. It's one or the other. But I'm going to tell you why. Deion Sanders, Michael Jordan stand out to me. It's because when those people started trying to tear them down, you know what they did? They got better. They got smoother. You see what I'm saying? They started getting, they kicked in a second gear. Even after they had already run the race. Michael Jordan, you know how tired your body is after playing professional sports? And this motherfucker gonna go play baseball and then come back and win 2 basketball championships? Dion Sanders, after he done all that shit, he done had cameras in his face all his life. Now he gonna go do this? That's when you got that fire in you. You see what I mean? You take a guy like me. I go out, kicked everybody's ass in tennis, went on the pro tour. Didn't kick everybody's ass on the pro tour, but I got injured. I did pretty good. You know what I mean? And then coach for 20 years. You know how that feels? Do you have any idea how that feels? How your body feels, your mind dealing with all that shit. For 20 years coaching, you have any idea? Every day you walk out on the tennis court, your job is on the line. You gotta be good, especially when you're black and you're teaching white people. And especially when you're teaching them at the top tennis clubs in the country. You do that for 20 years, physically, how my body felt. 4 years ago when COVID hit, right? I didn't know what to do. I was working at one of the top parks here in Atlanta, Chastain Park. It was like my dream park. Yeah, anybody from Atlanta knows what I'm talking about because like I'd be coaching and then I can hear the concert, right? While I'm coaching. All the big names come to Chastain Park. So it was a cool job. And of course, COVID hits, right? So, and don't think I forgot about Blunt Time. Don't think I forgot about Blunt Time. I just been on a different level recently. And I feel like my videos are getting better because I'm making them a little bit more personal, you know. So anyway, if you haven't rolled up, roll it up because I already been smoking. After all of that, and then COVID hits, I'm like, ah man, I thought I was just gonna be chilling, right? So I'm like, I already knew how to day trade. So I just said, I'm gonna go for it. And I did. I dropped everything. I dropped everything. And I started failing. And I had never really failed at anything in my life. Not really. Not that was under my control. You know what I mean? And it started taking me longer and longer and longer than I thought. And then before you know it, I'm out of money. Now I'm borrowing money. And people that were in my life, I saw there was like a separation. It was like the Red Sea parting. You know what I mean? And it wasn't so much that they left, but it was that I could see the people that were actually waiting on the downfall. I got a chance to see that, and and what I did was, I didn't let them know that I knew. I keep them around. When you got people like that, keep their ass around. Don't let them. Don't say, hey man, yo, don't do that. Keep their ass right on around as long as you can, as long as you can tolerate it. Cause they just hanging around because you doing bad or you failing. You see what I mean? So keep them around because you don't want it to be a thing where like you just call them out the blue one day and say, "Hey, yo, I'm rich." No, because they ain't gonna answer their phone again. You want to make sure you keep that relationship going so they don't have nowhere to go when you make it. Keep that shit going. You see what I mean? So they can't be like, well, we don't never really talk that much. Nah, nigga. We talk all the time. Yeah, remember when y'all was all down and everything? You had all kinds of conversation for me. Let's talk, motherfucker. You see what I mean? So that's all this whole Dion thing is about. You got people out here smiling in his face, wanting him to fail. I hope Dion might just get this video. Dion, man, I'm proud of you. And I know you hear that all the time, but this is coming from somebody who's done some things, done the pros, done different stuff in life. Um, and come on, I'm the baddest man on YouTube. I tell you what, if you do get this video, leave a comment, man. I'll get in touch with you because I got a master's in sports psychology, and I can see that you guys are in need of that bad on that team. You got the buy-in, right? You got the buy-in, but it wasn't earned, and so that's why um, there is a that's what I told you I was gonna get back to the football, but like that's why there's like a disconnect because those boys, first of all, are too young to understand what you did. Understand they can't even though you could tell them, they don't understand who you are. That's just like telling a little kid who Michael Jordan is. You can't really, even if they watch all the highlights, it's still not gonna add up to who Michael Jordan is. And when those kids bought into you, they're buying into highlights. They're buying into the crowd screaming when you get out the car, and the sunglasses, and things like that. And so your buy-in has to be earned when it comes to coaching. And the only way that you're going to earn that is by winning. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. You could do it in 10 years. But in 10 years, when you're Deion Sanders and you have a true buy-in to a winning concept, that's when you take off. How long does that take? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was saying maybe a good sports psychologist would be good because you do have a different dynamic on that team. Let me see. Than any other team. That would be like Michael Jordan coming back and coaching the team. That'd be like Michael Jordan coming back and coaching the college team. Like, what the fuck, right? Of course the kids are gonna buy in. But it's not genuine. Just like when you saw Jordan come back as the owner, yeah, all the players bought in, right? But they don't know what the fuck they're buying into. That has to be earned. You can't skip around that coaching stuff. You can't skip around it. And that's coming from somebody who did it for 20 years in a sport that's individual. So I really had to, interact with people. But yeah, that's my video about Sanders. It's just, if you're one of those people, if you're like me, you're going up or you're there, and eventually one day you'll go down. So while you're up, or while you're there, keep those people around you. Don't let them do some old shady shit. Like if you start having a downfall or something, or you're gonna do something different, and it might take you a little bit longer, or you're not as good at something. Just like when Jordan went to baseball, right? If he had kept playing baseball, he would have been good at the shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, let him stick around. Let him stick around so that you can have some good old conversations later after you succeed. You know what I mean? Stay focused and believe in yourself. That's the one thing that they tell kids to do all the time, but it's just so underrated. Believe in yourself. Hey, I'm Ramo Retrac, the baddest man on YouTube.